interesting because Jesus and Peter are using two different words for love. Jesus is asking Peter that very first time, do you agape me? That was the Greek. And that just meant love unconditionally, sacrificially. Like what Peter had been saying a few chapters before Jesus had died, that I would sacrifice my life for you. I would lay it down. And so Jesus says, well, do you agape me? And Peter, he replies back, I phileo you, which basically was just like saying brotherly love. It's like the difference between love and like. He's saying back, I like you. And Jesus asks him again, do you agape me? Do you love me? And Peter looks back at him again and says, Lord, I like you. And finally, this third time, Jesus, instead of saying agape, he meets Peter where he's at, and he uses the exact same word that Peter's using. He says, Peter, do you phileo me? Do you like me? And Peter says, yes, Lord, you know that I do. I like you. For the first time, I think Peter is open and honest. He doesn't try to pretend to be something he's not. He doesn't try to pretend to have all the answers, to have life figured out, to be bigger and badder and stronger than he really is. He quits trying to talk the talk to impress others, and he just becomes open and honest with Jesus. And that's what we need to do this Easter season. We don't have to put on a face. We don't have to say the right things. We don't have to have our life all together to come back to Jesus, because no matter how many times we fall, no matter how dark our lives might seem, how broken and how far from Christ we feel, he will meet us wherever we're at. He will meet us in the lowest of lows and the darkest of dark pits, and he will still use us. That's what he did with Peter. He restored Peter. He still used Peter to build the church upon, because after Jesus left, if you go on to read the book of Acts, you find out Peter was able to preach the very first sermon ever preached after Jesus had left. And at the end of that sermon, 3,000 people gave their lives to Jesus. Peter went on to help plant churches all over. He was instrumental in the groundwork of the church.